what do you see in him in terms of his mental makeup that will allow him to prepare to bounce back from that?
The first thing that you see with his mental build and his mental makeup, one is that he's the ultimate competitor, and he is his harshest critic, and he knows that stuff that he did on last Saturday wasn't what winning requires. And so he does a really good job of resetting his mind, getting back to the basics, whether it's his footwork or his reads, and really honing in on that and cleaning that up and making sure he's very intentional with that in practice. But, also with that in his mental makeup build is he's a great leader. He had great juice yesterday at practice, and he owns anything that might not go the offense's way, whether that's his fault or not. And I think that's a really good characteristic in a young man and a leader. And so his mental makeup is strong, and I'm excited to watch him attack this week of work.
In front of Cliff, let's go to Ryan Chapman. Ben, you're still wanting to make some improvements in the running game. And I know that tight ends have been a big part of what you've done, but with some of the inconsistencies there, what are some of the ways you could try to help this offensive line and the running game as a whole kind of get online and get to where you want it to be?
Yeah, I think it's just consistently, one, you got to work the strain and you got to work the finish in practice. The game day is just kind of the finished product, but it's everything that goes into the week that I think we can continue to develop and build on and get better at and demand execution and strain, not only from those guys up front, but from everyone on the offense, whether it's the receiver catches a pass in practice and we burst 5 yards down the field trying to find a block, or you're holding on to the block just a little bit longer. Just that little bit more, that little bit longer strain can make the difference in a lot of different plays, and the run game's no different. And so we have to keep on demanding it. The kids have to demand it out of themselves. The leaders that we have to demand it from everyone, but also be the standard of what we do. And so I think that's one way that we can continue to get better at it.
With Derek Simmons exiting the game pretty early on, and you guys kind of have some mounting injuries there at the offensive tackle spot. How much of a concern is the depth there kind of midway through the season, and what can you kind of do to manage those things when you have so many guys that are dealing with injuries?
Yeah, it's football, right? Everyone's going to get hurt. I think there's a lot of people around the country who are probably a little bit banged up. The biggest thing that we can promote is the next man up mentality, and the standard doesn't change just because the next man's up. You have to find different ways as a coach to put those guys in position to be successful, help them out if there needs to be some help somewhere. But it's the next man up mentality, and so you have to continue getting guys back and healthy, and that comes from their process and recovery. But you have to find creative ways in practice too to make sure you're getting what you need to get done at the standard you need to get done, but ultimately not just working the absolute dog out of someone too. So I think there's a artmanship to it, a craftsmanship to it, and we have to continue working that. But it's next man up mentality.
Yeah, Ben, creative use of Stone and Jaden Jackson with your offense. Where'd that come from, and any further ideas on using more defensive guys in special situations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with what we were seeing in short yardage, I thought being able to bring in two bigger bodies who are really explosive, strong guys, would be to our interest, but it speaks to those kids too. Not only are they having great seasons, are they great players, but everything in the 11 months since I've been here, like, those kids are hard workers. They're great kids to be around. They're physical as can be, and they work in such a way that it builds trust. Like, here I am, I'm an offensive coach, and I see them from afar, and I'm like, I like those guys. And so they loved it. They had a lot of fun with it, and they did a great job with it too. So, but just being able to get good football players in good position to be successful.
Has Brent looked at any of your offensive guys and said the same thing?
I don't know. Defense is a little bit trickier deal right there, but who knows? Maybe.
Your tailbacks that played against Texas only rushed for 42 yards. You've got a guy in Jade Knott who went for over 1,300 a couple years ago at Cal. I guess I could be asking this about Javonte or Taylor Tatum or some other guys that haven't seen the field as much, but what is it about Jaden that is keeping him off the field? What could potentially be done to get him out there more?
Yeah, I think it comes from a game-by-game basis, but with Jaden, it's not necessarily anything that he's doing wrong. It's what a lot of guys are also just doing right and being really consistent with. I've said it a million times. I think Jaden Ott is a great kid, and he is talented, and he works really, really hard. But there's a something about, especially the way that Torrey plays and he attacks his work every single day, that he's a guy that you can't take off the field. It'd be wrong just with how he performs, how he practices, how he prepares, how he is in the building, how he is with his mindset. And so again, that running back room, I think, has a lot of talented guys in it, but ultimately we have to put the most consistent person out there that not only runs the ball well, but does everything else really, really well. And Torrey has been consistent with that all year, and so that's what.
You've seen Elijah Thomas get out there and make some plays on special teams. I
Yeah.
know you got a lot of guys that you trust at receiver, but what have you made of his progression, and what do you feel like you need to see from him to get him some more snaps on offense potentially?
Yeah, first off, with Elijah Thomas, every time I watch special teams, I'm just looking for where he is, because he flies down the field. He's assignment sound. He's excited to be out there, and he makes plays, and that's a credit to him, and that's a credit to Coach Deacon putting him in a position to be successful. ET's a really, really talented kid. You said it. I got a lot of receivers in that room that I do trust, guys who have just have a lot of veteran experience about them and everything. And again, it's nothing that ET has done wrong. He does great in practice, reps really well in practice. He's continuously building, his football IQ and his knowledge of the playbook, because at the end of the day, he is still a young kid out there. Young man out there, but he's a talented kid who's taken all the right steps to find his way onto the field. And so, but that receiver room is deep, and a bunch of good kids in there. And we just got Giovanni back, right? Well, okay, I got to get Giovanni going too. And so, and that's nothing to do with ET, but there's a lot of guys in that room. And he just does a great job of coming to work every day. And I'm really, really proud of the impact that he is having on the game on special teams. And he is an awesome kid to be around.
Ben, Brett talks a lot about this, one possession, one score lead.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, does that change your offensive mentality at all? And in the midst of these games, when you're struggling to run the ball or struggling to block, what are some things schematically, I guess, that you can do to sort of help that?
Yeah, it is a one possession league. I think when you look across the conference as a whole, every conference game, maybe not all of them, but a vast majority of them are one possession games. The biggest thing in this league, in my approach to the mindset, and it's the approach that I've had everywhere, is you have to be complementary with your defense. And I think we have a very, very talented defense. So any way that I can help them out, I'm going to. Is there things that we can do on offense that maybe we've been inefficient in some areas, or we've just had some execution errors, or we've had some self-inflicted wounds? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you got to be complementary with your defense in order to win in this conference, because it is a one possession league, and I don't see that changing.
Yeah, Ben, I'm wondering about your running back rotation. Who ultimately, I guess, makes that decision of who's in the game? And you mentioned Torrey earlier. Do you feel like he's your guys' go-to back at this point?
Yeah, who makes those decisions as far as who they're in? Well, we have a personnel meeting every Thursday at the end of the day, and we determine, who are going to be our first two running backs in. And then if specific plays, all right, who's going to be in these specific plays? And then in game, it's me and Coach Murray. Hey, we stay true to our rotation unless I say on the headset, hey, give me so-and-so right here. So that's kind of how that works. That's how it works with a lot of the positions. And so, yeah.
Do you feel like Torrey's kind of that guy at this point in the season, that he's kind of your lead back?
He's the one who's been the most consistent from a practice and a game standpoint, and if he continues that consistency, I don't see why he'd come off the field.
Ben,
Ben, you talked about John. He mentioned after the game on Saturday his thumb was okay, but his eyes weren't always in the right spot. He just wasn't seeing things. When he has maybe a rare lapse like that, do you kind of work with him through the week to get his eyes back in the right spot, or do you kind of trust that he could self-correct and fix some of those issues?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mental reset. Do I trust John Mateer? Absolutely, I do. But I wouldn't be doing my job as a coach if I just sat back and said I'm gonna just trust that he's gonna get it right. And so it's a mental reset. It's back to the basics. It's whenever we're doing a walkthrough, hey, be great with your feet right here. High detail in your feet. Where are my eyes supposed to be at? And then that translates over to practice reps, and that translates over to good on good reps, and then translate over to game reps. And so I trust John. Is he gonna put the work in to improve? Absolutely. But I have to do my job as a coach too, and be on him about those little things. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ben, just wondering if there's anything going on with Javante Barnes. Nothing on the availability report. He hasn't had snaps the last couple games. But it's just the way it's worked out, or
yeah. I mean, I would say that was probably the way that's just worked out, because Javante is really intelligent. He's really tough. He's really physical. He's a great pass protector. But, just for assortment of different reasons, a lot of which that I've talked about with Torrey already, he just hadn't seen the field as much.
When you're struggling to run the football like you've been, how difficult is a play caller? And do you get into situations where you're even going deeper in your playbook, or you spend the weeks trying to figure out different things in terms of even design plays just to try to make up for that? Just how difficult is it when you're not able to be consistent?
Yeah, I think whenever you're in the flow of the game, establishing the line of scrimmage and being able to run the football, I don't know if it's a secret. It makes a lot of things a lot easier. One, it puts the defense a little bit more, in a compromising position, especially from like a safety's eyes and linebacker's eyes and their position and everything, so it can make things a lot easier. But whenever you talk about that specific situation, you have to look back and you have to say, okay, what are we? What are we good at? What can we emphasize, and what can we really build upon? That way we have a lot of confidence moving forward whenever we do decide to, hand the ball off. But like you said, being able to run the ball makes football a lot easier from the offensive side of things. And, we're working, every single day to get better, improve the mindset, the mentality of what it takes to run the football. And the kids are, buying into it. They're working hard with it, and we got to just keep on demanding it out of them, demanding it out of us as coaches to emphasize the strain and the finish out at practice, because ultimately that's where it all begins, is out at practice, and it translates over to the game. So, you got to be able to run the football.
John Mateer's had quite a couple of weeks. He's
Yeah.
got surgery. He's flying, trying to get back, and then you lose a huge game like that to Texas. What's your message to him as he tries to rebound? This schedule's not getting any easier. It's a crazy couple of weeks coming up. What's your message to him?
Yeah, one, stay true to who you are, stay true to the process that has gotten you to where you have been in life and as a player, and don't listen to the outside noise, because that's not, that's nothing pertaining to you. Stay true to who you are, stay true to who you are as a leader. Bond, connect, and continue to build all your relationships with your teammates. Strengthen those as much as you can, because ultimately those are the guys that matter. And the awesome thing is the support that those guys have shown John. That's one thing I love about this team, is these kids have each other's back. And there was zero flinch after that game from those kids, from John Mateer. But that's the biggest thing you can tell them, is you got to stay true to who you are. Fall back onto your basics, because basics win. Basic footwork wins. Basic timing wins. And, you just got to be you.
Sorry, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate y'all. Boomer.